Shalom. It's your brother Yabrak giving all praise to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachach Wadash, who give me a spirit to send this message to the true Israelites out there who use so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, whom the Lord will have mercy on in these latter days, man. And I want to come and share this article, and also like a quick testimony or vision that I had last night, man, in a dream. You can see I got this article pulled up here. MSNBC reporter interrupted by protester in California says, "Take off your damn mask," man. And it's funny because last night, my sleep schedules have been pretty messed up, with just various things and, just work being out and stuff. And I'd had a somewhat of a crazy dream last night where I just saw, basically all of these Edomites just fighting each other, man, these so-called white people. And, there was no really context to the dream. I kind of just remember just seeing a bunch of them out there fighting. And some of these were old Edomites, man. They were they were fighting out there, kind of like how you would see Jake in the Hood. They were just a bunch of them, and they were just angry for some reason. And I'm just sitting around watching, and I kind of got like a smirk on my face because it's kind of like, it's kind of like seeing, how they want to call us or label us as, as savage, or, they'll use slurs like low IQ and things like that. And when, they're the biggest, white on white violence race in the world, with all these world wars. They just kill each other by the millions, but then, that's neither here nor there. But, I'm watching all these people, out in the streets, and the majority of them are Edomites. But then, the crazy part was next. I see these two Jake women, these so-called black women fighting, man. And, when I turned and I saw them like fighting each other, I my countenance kind of changed a bit. And man, if you ever know, like, if I literally never in my life been able to break up a fight between two Jake women, man. If you ever been out there kind of like in the hood, or you just know a few from back in the day when you get into some world, that's not a thing, that's easy to do, But it was the spirit, because in the dream, I just walked up to the one that was the most angry, and all I said to her was, "Hey," and she literally just stopped. She put her hands down like she was just ready to listen, And I just remember just being shocked at the fact that she just calmed down. And I said, "Look, we not to be doing all this out here in the streets, put your hands down, and reason with one another, And I just remember both of the sisters just sitting there, and they just, they both calmed down. You could see their spirits calmed down, man. And I don't remember much after that in the dream, but it was funny because when I woke up this morning, I was seeing all these articles about, protests, in California, and how, basically it's getting lit over there, man. They're tired of being kept up in this basically captivity with the coronavirus quarantines. And it just put the spirit on me to just, I knew I had to, open up one of these articles and share it with the brothers. And there's many articles going on. There's a lot of protests all over these beaches, but I just got this one, and it says MSNBC's Steve Patterson was interrupted during a live report with the protest in California, telling the reporter, "Take off your damn mask, man." And because people are starting to see through this whole coronavirus bullshit, and the people who are getting into the numbers, they're starting to see that this whole thing was bullshit, There's people like back when there was a swine flu, like in 2005, man, they projected 200 million deaths, during that whole swine flu thing, just trying to panic people. And not once did they suggest shutting down the entire global economy or the American economy once, And Corona's only projected 2 million in comparison. And of course, obviously, the deaths are nowhere near that, at least what they're reporting in those numbers. So, long story short, man, they're starting to see through this whole thing, and they're starting to get restless. And this next paragraph, it says the interruption came on Saturday afternoon as Patterson was reporting on a protest in Laguna Beach. Governor Gavin Newsom said social distancing orders, including the closure of beaches in the Golden State amid the coronavirus pandemic. The beach is to my right. You can see some of the orange fencing that's kept a lot of people away, at least from the beach. Haven't seen anybody there. Patterson reported while wearing a mask outdoors near the beach. Just take off your damn mask. You don't need it. An unidentified man yelled while walking by Patterson. And they're right, because in California or in the LA area, they did a bunch of what you call antibodies testing, and they just showed, how many people have already contracted the virus. And it's a lot of people that contracted it, which dropped the so-called death rate, like way, way, way under 1%, you know. And it says Patterson continued without acknowledging the voice, the advice, while showing signs from the protesters that included, when tyranny becomes law, rebellion becomes duty. So the Edomites are getting riled up, bro. It's coming. It says another read, USA, land of the free and home of the brave, but the words free and brave were crossed out. It says California, the most populous state in the country, with 40 million residents in 5 major cities, recorded its first case of COVID-19 near the end of January. Newsom ordered strict stay-at-home measures March 19th. The death toll in California has stayed relatively low, with the state recording 2,100 deaths, according to John Hopkins University. Several U.S. states have started reopening their respective economies, with Newsom telling reporters Friday that some announcements are around easing restrictions in the process of reopening the California economy may be happening this week. So even with news that they know that it's happening this week, that they're reopening, they're still getting restless, showing you that people are never going to forget this, even if this so-called thing opens up, a week, 2 weeks, a month from now. Nothing's ever going to be the same, And when they do it again, inevitably, to get everybody to either take those vaccines or that chip, the spirit is going to have a higher starting point, in terms of this thing heating up, because they're going to remember what everybody did, this go around. So for you brothers that are, in the truth, you already know second Esdras is it's manifesting itself. So I'll just read it real quick for the brothers who haven't who don't know. This is second Esdras 14. And I'll just get through verse, I'll say 24. As woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor their princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And they're getting in that spirit right now. Right now, it's based on this coronavirus thing, but pretty soon it's going to be famines, It's going to be drought. It's going to be all kind of plagues. It's going to be cities getting shut down. You might have power outages. A complete and total slew of plagues is going to come and settle on this place. And that energy that's revving up right now, it's going to be 7 times worse, It says a man shall, so verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. So only the men of the Lord, that the Most High is going to have mercy on, is going to have that spirit, to stand, to not be afraid in that day. They're going to have that covering. The spirit's going to roll with them. And a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. And that's just beginning now. Verse 20 says, behold, saith the Most High, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east and Libanus, and to turn themselves one against another and repay the things that they have done to them. So this is not just going to be America. This is going to be all over the globe, all over the planet Earth. It's just like as they do yet this day unto my chosen, so will I do also, and recompense in their bosom. Thus saith the Lord thy God. Lord God. Verse 22, my right hand shall not spare the sinners, and my sword shall not cease over them that shed innocent blood upon the earth. So all these Edomites that think that they got away, or maybe they haven't murdered a so-called Jake, but their forefathers did, or they're descendants of these people. The Most High is getting ready to call in that tab. That sword is about to get busy out here. Verse 23 says, the fire is gone forth from his wrath, and hath consumed the foundations of the earth, and the sinners like the straw that is kindled. Woe to them that sin and keep not my commandments, saith the Lord. So that's the conclusion of this whole thing, brothers. Just repent, come back. If you're a so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, you are an Israelite. You're part of the chosen seed that only we have a chance to be saved from this destruction. So hopefully you brothers were edified. Shalom.